And welcome to another posting of this Land Rover 101 which me and my son are on with. Bit of an update for this one. We've been working on the bodywork at the back, which I'd mentioned from my last video, but we've got the framework 99.9% finished now. And as you can see with the aluminium, I have a ton of aluminium here, sheet work to cover it. And let me tell you, the cost of this, ridiculous. For this, I've got 8 sheets of aluminium here, ranging from 0.9mm, 1.6 and 2mm. Yeah, 1,200 quid. And I'm like, that nearly knocked me, like I say, I went faint. But I needed it, so there's no scrimping and scraping. I wasn't going to put a canvas cover back on, let's put it that way anyway. But anyway, so we've got the sheet, it's paid for, and yeah, we can start now covering it. As we go around the framework what we've built, then you'll be able to understand better exactly how and what I'm going to do. Just to mention for those who's following the Mark II, if anybody's flipping between the Mark II and this, I've mentioned that I'm doing the seat backs, the chair backs in aluminium. So I got 2 pieces of 2mm aluminium sheet. So this is going to make the chair backs. Hopefully it should look good, hopefully. But I'm going to design that on the CAD to make sure I've got all the measurements and everything. I'm not just going to ad hoc this. I've got some pictures for some chairs with the chair, you know, bomber seats, so they should look good. Cross fingers. But anyway, back to the 101. So we've been doing the framework. So if we go, oh, and I've also been making a ladder for the back as well. That goes up the back offside pillar. So obviously I'll show you that as well. So if we go around here, then we'll see what we've got and where we are. Right, so first off, the ladder I've made. All the ladder I've seen on the radio bodies and the Vampire, they are Vampires, yeah, bodies, basically it's either a ladder that's been chopped up and fastened on, or just square alley box section. Well, it looks like alley, I would presume it is. And to say they look crude was an understatement, really. And I had a sheet of 5-bar alley checker plate, so I thought, I know Land Rover drivers love the 5-bar all over the Land Rovers, so I thought I'm going to put some on as well. So I made a ladder. It's 3mm is this stuff, so there's a lot of strength in it. Well, it's self-explanatory, really. It's a ladder. It's all folded, obviously, and TIG welded in. If I had more money and time, I would have had this made in 2 pieces instead of the pieces, because I had to make a piece, fold, cut it and everything, then weld it all up. And so this is one side, same as other, and then each part I had to fold and weld into it, which really, if I'd have, like say, if I had the money, I could have got this profile cut, but I had the stuff, and I thought, well, it's a bit of welding is not a big deal to me. So, and it doesn't look bad. You know, I've had some good comments at work when I were aqua blasting it just to make it look even. But yeah, so I've done that. So we've got a step here. There's a step here which you will hardly be able to see, I don't think. But what I'll do is I'll put a slideshow together of some pictures so you can see better of what I've done. And I've also the original step which we have. I've modified that. So what did I do to modify it? Well, originally it's just a piece of flat bar bent into a step, and the bodywork on this bumper bracket here, it just sat on a face of which the lug that sticks out allows it to be bolted to. Well, obviously with people standing on it, it bent this actual piece here, because there's only a small area where the actual step was actually touching. So I got a piece of steel, cut it, and to match it to the face underneath. And like I say, I'll put some pictures in so you can better see what I'm talking about. So now I've got a much broader face touching the original bumper bracket that sticks out, and it also, because it was a triangle which I put into it, it's moved all the energy that's going to be transferred from stepping onto it further down, so it's reinforced it to stop it bending. So that's one of the things I did. Dead simple, but it's just better. And also I've put some 5-bar on there as well, which just makes it better and it stops you sliding as well. So I've got that, so watch this. That foot there, and then as we go up, so that's that off, and I put some little pieces on the back here, so you're not actually grabbing out of a 3mm piece of alley and cutting into your fingers. So you've got a bit of a grab hold at the back of there, which is more comfortable on hands. So yeah, so I've done that, and like I say, I'll put a slideshow in so you can see the makeup of this, and there will be something that I make for top of here. When you get up to the top, I'm thinking of making a little handle there and an handle at the side to grab out of, so when you get up to there you can hold on to that and then pull yourself up onto the top. But I've not done that yet because I've not got the roof on, so I'm not exactly decided how I'm going to fabricate and make that up and what I'm going to make it out of. I'll probably just get some alley round bar for the handle that goes across there, which will probably be about 1.5 to 2 foot long. I might get a bit of 5-bar just to make a little step right at the top to grab hold of. But so that's that. So let's have a look at the framework. Right, so the framework, so the back framework, obviously I've got the door I picture in. I can't remember the dimensions of this now, but I made it quite big. I'm getting a big glass window going in here, which will the slide. I think one side slides over and it's tinted. It's black, but it's going to go there in the door. I've ordered the locks, Series 2, Land Rover Series 2, 3, and Defender locks for this door, and the door that's going to go. Well, the doors that's going to go on that side there. Anyway, so I've got the frame. I've reinforced the corners here with this brace up to that corner there. Both sides are the same. The joist beam that goes across the top there. I've got a central point there, and then 2 little pieces, one on either side here. So that is absolutely rigid, is that beam across the top of the back of there. And it obviously holds all this in place as well. These obviously to stop it swaying like that. And so there's a lot of structural strength now in the back of here. As we go to the centre framework here, what I've done with that, I've got some 1 by 1/2 inch by 2mm thick wall box section. Those is going to make my frames up, and I've put rails in the roof. I've put a piece of 1 by 1/2 inch underneath the beam that runs across the middle one. In hindsight, I really should have had that top middle one flipped over, because it's 2 inch by inch box where I made all this out of. But it doesn't matter. I've put that piece in across there to give it more structural strength for any weight that's going to be on the top there. So this one's solid, that one's now solid. The front one I'm going to leave as it is, because there is still quite a bit of structural strength in it. So what I'm going to do, I've dropped these pieces that run fore to aft. I've dropped them down 12mm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some plyboard, 12mm plyboard, structural plyboard, and they're going to sit in the tops and they're going to be recessed in, and then I'll have some plate to run down each side of there, and same with the bits back there. So the board is going to sit in, and that's going to distribute any kind of weight that's on the roof will be moved around better. So I'll have 2 sheets in there. I'll have a bit of a gap on that one, by I think it's 1 inch, because it's slightly wider is that aperture area there for this door that's going to be in the near side, but it's not a problem. So I'll have 12mm ply in both of these, and then that's going to be covered with aluminium, 0.9mm. That's what I got the 0.9mm sheeting for. So that'll be bonded and screwed down onto the plyboard, and it will be riveted into the steel sections around the side. And so that's what I'm going to do with the roof, and then the sides, and like you've seen with my CAD model, which I'm working on for the 2 wheels, spare wheel apertures that's going to be in here, that's all going to be made just with the aluminium sheet. That's 1.6mm is a sheet. I've just had a look, it wasn't 2mm, it's 1.6 and 0.9. So the 0.9 is for the roof and the 1.6 is for the sides. And so all this will be just folded, and that will be to make the boxes. All the framework for the lifting the wheels, that'll be underneath whatever that, when I finish that off there. So that's that. So if we go around the other way, look at the other way, I'll be able to show you how I've tied it into the roll frame, the roll bar that's in there. So this end here, what I've done with this, and I'll put, same again, I'll put some pictures in the slideshow just to show you better what I've done in this area here. But what we're doing, the framework comes down to here, and then I wanted to make sure that the body, there will be no flex between this box section I've made and the front part of the cab. I don't expect there being hardly anything, but I'm thinking there might be something. So what I've done is, and it makes it better anyway to tie the sides in when I'm making it, but I've put this box section in here, and then I've welded it to the actual roll frame here, roll cage frame. And I've done the same at the other side. Now, yes, there's not a great deal of structural integrity, as it were, for twisting as such, but I don't think there might probably be nothing, because this is sat pretty much on the same cross member section. But I just wanted to tie it in so that the actual panel work isn't taking the actual stress as if there is some torsional twisting in the chassis when it's off-roading. That's the only reason why I've tied those in more than anything. But it does act as a side when I can put the panelling on. It just makes it easy, even though they've got folds, which obviously is structural. So I've done that. I've also got a piece of aluminium which I've stepped down on an angle to bring this line, the roof, down to a piece of angle line I've got in here, which will then cover the cab area. And I've made that so it's slightly raised in the centre, so it just comes up. So it'll taper down to this piece here, and then there's a slight little taper to the front for the last piece. But I'll show you those as we're in it. But like I said, I'll put the pictures in, and you'll be able to see better what we've got here. And also, just finishing, I'll get down and I'll show you the battery box. I've done a little tweak on the battery box. So the battery box, when I panel this side off here, I was just going to cover this battery box, because this battery box face here is set in. It was set in by about 8 millimeters, something like that, 8-10 millimeters. So I was going to put a panel just covering it, and then I thought, well, why am I messing around like that? So I took all the rivets off. Same with the panel at the side here. Took those out. Straightened out the flange that had been put on this inner panel. Reset it so that when I put it back together, I could then put this panel up to it and rivet it back on, which would then put it flush, which it is. And this side here, this B-post pillar, which is steel, I just marked across the holes where it was originally riveted, set the depth I required, which was measured from this panel, centre pot, and just drilled them all and just riveted it back on. And then I drilled from underneath where the airbox is. I could get underneath and I just put a drill hole into the bottom flange on this to hold that central, hold it so it can't be pushed in. And that's now made it flush. So when I put my panel on, I'm not having to cover this, so I can, because I've got a breather there, and it's just better. It's just better. So I like to say I can bring my paneling down now to here, and bring it down. So it's just better. So I've got that done. And I think that's as far as we've got. So I forgot these cross pieces. The reason why these are in, I think, is self-explanatory. The panel that goes on here is just one big panel. And if I didn't have these in, it'd drum like mad. So I put these in. It's just a bit of old angle line that was on the drop-down sides. So I just put a bent edge on there. To make it the same width as these uprights, which is 1 inch, and I just welded these in. They've got the holes in already, so when I put the panel I just drill them straight through and I can rivet it up. So I got 3 in there. The rest of the panels don't require any of this because like I said, the spare wheels, they're all boxed, and so that'll give all that panel face rigidity, because it's not just a flush face, is it? The roof, that's going on to plyboard, and it's going to be fastened down with sealant, some adhesive sealant, and I'll probably put some screws in as well, maybe, I'm not sure yet, but it will be riveted at the side. And I've also got sealed rivets for doing all this, which cost me a small fortune as well. But anyway, so in closing, as always, I do say thank you for everybody that's watching and subscribed and commenting. Like I say, I don't have that many people watching this and I don't get that many comments, but I'm grateful for all the comments that are placed there, and I'm grateful for all the people that watch and have subscribed. If you've not subscribed and you're watching this, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just it bumps my numbers up, and I'd really like to get that up. Obviously I want to make better videos. I want to get my subscriptions up. I was taught, somebody did mention, to monetize the channel. Well, at the moment it's not worth monetizing the channel because the subscriptions, they're not that high and the views aren't that great, and so you'd have lots of adverts on to try and get pence, and I'm not going to do that. If I had lots of subscriptions and lots of views, then I could put some ads in it to monetize it, and it'd be worthwhile if the content was better. At the moment it's not, although I am trying, but please subscribe, and like I say, we'll try and build this channel, because that's what I want. Anyway, so as always, thank you for everybody that's watching, and like I say, keep up with the comments and that. And a few comments that I've had, statements. Paul Harris, sorry mate that you're getting bored with 101 and you want to see it Mark 2 done. I'm working on it, and so yeah, we'll see. We'll try to make them. We'll get there for you, mate. We'll get there. And Brett, you came in with the Black Mark 2. You asked originally about the any pictures for the Black Mark 2, and I put a video. I pointed to a video which I'd made ages ago. It is on my channel, which you can see it now. You probably watched that, and then you asked, am I interested in selling it? No mate, I'm not. Out of all the classic cars that I've built, they've all gone, or they've been other customers, other people's cars, when I've worked for other people doing this stuff in the past, bits and pieces. And I do want something for myself, and the green one, when it's done, probably, well, I will be selling it when I've had it to some shows and stuff, because it helps keep this thing running. I do work part-time, which helps in between when I've built a car and I've played with it a bit and shown, and then I sell it. Like my last one was the E-Type. That helps me, like I say, keep this place going, but more than anything, it helps pay for like this stuff that cost me an arm and a leg nearly, and the rest of it, because like I said, there's still a ton of stuff. So, but no, I'm not selling it, Brett, sorry mate. But I'm grateful that you like my work and you find it interesting, same with everybody else. So keep watching please, and click the subscribe button. I did say I'd try to get one out every week of each, but it's so hard, it's so hard. And especially when I'm trying to fit it in with work life, and this is not a business, this is just a complete hobby, so it makes it difficult. But yeah, thank you, you all take it steady, and I'll see you on the next posting of this Land Rover 101, which my son and I are on with. Take it steady.